happening. While there may be hype because of Al Gore's participation in the entire process, I believe that global warming is indeed taking place. It's very difficult to explain in terms of natural processes the increase both in CO2, and next slide please. Next slide please. Increase in CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide in the recent years. The other thing that Dr. Ong also focused on is the role of humans in Earth history. We know that we've only been on Earth, or the likes of us have only been on Earth about 2 million years ago, not even in the modern form that we are in now. And so it's very hard to say whether, with much, in a very definitive way, whether humans indeed are causing it, or humans, because we do not have any comparison in Earth history. However, if we do not face the reality of global warming today, it would also be to some extent dangerous. I believe that science exists because we question what is happening. And I think science will not serve humankind anymore if we fail to question. So in that sense, I concur with Dr. Perry Ong when he says that we have to question the way that the IPCC report was presented. But I think that the evidence is overwhelming. CO2 is rising, and all of these greenhouse gases are being introduced into the atmosphere because of human activities. But at the same time, whether the magnitude is more or less, whether sea level is going to rise greater or less, I think the lesson for all of us today is to take care of our environment. As Dr. Ong has said in the many slides that he showed us, I think that from now on, I think global warming, in a sense, also heightens that need for us to take care of the environment, the Earth that is our only home, the Earth that we are actually changing today. Thank you.
We'll now listen to the reaction of Dr. Lansigan. UP Los Baños, please come in.
Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Welcome to Los Baños. First of all, good afternoon to all. And I would like to thank also the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be discussant on Dr. Perry Ong's paper. Let me first congratulate Dr. Perry Ong for his interesting and thought-provoking lecture on a topic of current interest. And serving as discussant for this lecture is quite challenging. One, I was informed only a few days ago. I was in travel. And second, I received a copy of this paper a few minutes before this particular lecture. But anyway,
the wonders of
this is indeed a challenging task, since also the presenter and the discussants are kilometers away. I'm in Los Baños and you're in Diliman. Anyway, I'll try to comment on the lecture based on the presentation as well as the few lines of email messages between me and Dr. Ong before this lecture, and also given the limited time. I have prepared actually a short PowerPoint presentation. I hope you guys there can see it. But anyway, I would like to address some points raised by Dr. Ong, and mainly the state of knowledge on global warming. Second is the appropriate responses in addressing major environmental issues. He raised a number of issues in this lecture. I will also highlight communicating the science of and concern on changing climate. I think we as scientists will learn from the other groups are doing, like, well, even the politician Al Gore. And then I will also mention the global, regional, and local initiatives and actions we have undertaken here, particularly under our UPLB interdisciplinary program on climate change. Now, as far as the state of knowledge, Dr. Perry Ong mentioned that it's indeed under the IPCC mandated to do this particular task. This was actually established by WMO and UNEP in 1988. And of course, they're supported by technical working groups. And also there is a task force on national greenhouse gas inventories. But please take note that even prior to 2007, this problem of climate change or global warming has not received that particular attention as it's receiving now. The updated knowledge on climate change is actually embedded in the reports which he mentioned. And the first assessment report was in 1990, the second in 1995, the third in 2001, and the fourth 2007. And of course, the most quoted spatial report of the IPCC on the emission scenarios, which is dated 2000. Incidentally, it was just decided last month that there will be another IPCC assessment, the peak assessment, that will be done sometime 2013, but then the process will start next year. And there is also a plan to do this IPCC scenario, and this will be out by as early as 2013. 2013, and this will include mitigations, reducing complexity, and hopefully this will be in time for the conference of the parties in 2013. The current knowledge on climate change, as Dr. Perry Ong mentioned, is actually summarized in one particular statement of IPCC Assessment Report 4, and this is the statement, quote, warming of the climate is unequivocal. And this is because there are lots of evidences, analysis of data done, and understanding of how climate is changing has been achieved through numerous data sets and analysis conducted by different groups. Also, broader geographical coverage for these data networks, a wide variety of measurements being used and being installed and being operated on, and also better understanding of uncertainties, which in the past reports had not been taken into account fully. The direct observations of current climate change can actually, well, he showed the graph of the 100-year linear trend of about 0.74 degrees compared to 0.6 degree for the last 1901 to 2000, based on the third assessment report. I think, well, he mentioned a lot of errors as far as the IPCC assessment report 4, and I think we should learn from this analysis, critical analysis of the errors he noted. But certainly there are gaps and uncertainties which the IPCC assessment report also recognized. And in fact, this should be included in the next assessment. And this, of course, have been recognized already by the ICSO-sponsored international programs, such as the Global Climate Observing System, which is a global network of observing systems, the World Climate Research Program, and the International Geosphere Biosphere Program, which has its fourth Congress last week in South Africa. This will be used in developing future strategies of climate change observations and research. And I'm glad Dr. Perry Ong mentioned all those these errors, which should be addressed in the next assessment. Now, one in particular presentation of Dr. Perry Ong is on the recognition that the causes of climate change would include natural processes and also anthropogenic activities. And this would include, for example, natural processes would include volcanic eruptions. Well, of course, in the literature, our Mount Pinatubo has been recognized or acknowledged. Anthropogenic activities, he mentioned, would include also our population increase, land use and land cover conversion change, industrialization, technological innovations, and the use of or promotion of unsustainable agriculture production systems. Compared to the fourth assessment report and the third assessment report of 2001, there is now increased level of confidence on the understanding of anthropogenic global warming. And this is, he showed this in one of the slides, 1.6 watt per square meter. Now, what I would like also to mention in this particular discussion is the possible climate change effects and impacts, both at the regional as well as the local. Because the problem may be global, but then actions will have to be done at the local level. This includes, for example, sea level rise, which will be affecting our coastal areas, particularly our small islands, island provinces. It will alter hydrologic regime, and statistically you can actually consider the disproportionate increase in the mean level as well as the variability, and therefore the probability of exceedance for a particular magnitude would be higher compared to the past, and therefore there will be more frequent and intense extreme events. Disturbed food systems, and this is brought about by the reduced productivity of the crops, for example, because as you increase temperature, the crop will have to attain a certain level by which beyond that there will be yield reduction or productivity. There is also loss of biodiversity, as he has mentioned. And of course, an important concern is the occurrence of pests and diseases, and also the effect of this climate change on human health. And we were reminded, of course, last September 28, 2006, of the typhoon that hit Los Baños, and for the last 100 years we experienced that particular calamity. Now, one important point that Dr. Perry mentioned is the recognition given to Al Gore's activity. As I noted earlier, in the past we have not the climate change issue has not received much attention. But of course, there are different ways of raising the issue and increasing awareness. For example, in the issue of Inquirer, Philippine Daily Inquirer in January 31, you have the headline, scientists say hundreds of millions going angry as temperatures rise. And of course, there was also this Live Earth concert last July 7, 2007, all over the world. And of course, the recognition of Al Gore. Let me also point out, and Dr. Perry Ong mentioned about, the planet Earth, that 2008 has been declared as the year of the planet, 2008 is the year of the planet Earth. And the recognition of IPCC and Al Gore have actually raised public concern. And maybe for the scientists, we need to, it's a wake-up call that perhaps we need to learn from their techniques and how to get the attention of the people who need to be influenced. There is growing awareness that sustainability is linked to global environmental change. But of course, we recognize, and he pointed out, there is still information gaps and uncertainties. What needs to be done? Well, as mentioned earlier, we need to have science that can influence policy and practice. And I'm glad that in the discussion and also the presenter agreed on that. We need to enhance IAC on climate change for all the stakeholders, and also address the issue of information gaps and better understanding of uncertainties through research. Here in UPLB, we have already initiated a lot of activities, ranging from IEC activities in Albay as well as in Laguna, and also working with local governments and trying to influence the way they rationalize and regulate land use and land cover change, as well as updating standards, drainage design, infrastructure design, and so on, as well as improving forecasting systems, and even providing early warning systems, particularly in vulnerable areas. And of course, there are institutional measures that can be adopted. And for example, this calamity support fund, the crop or agri-insurance, and so on. Now, finally, global warming, as mentioned, is anthropogenic. There's no doubt about that, and data shows and the analysis shows that it is, and it threatens humans and planet Earth. Climate change is real, and therefore we need to take actions on this. It is also a moral issue, because if we don't do anything now, perhaps our children and grandchildren will blame us for not doing anything. While global climate change is really an issue, actions of all stakeholders should be done at the local level. We need active collaboration and networking at all levels, including the academe, the local government units, the scientific community.